Former President Donald Trump is expected to meet with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban today.
That's right. The Hungarian leader will make his way to Mar-a-Lago after the NATO summit in Washington wraps up. Their meeting is less than 1 week after Orban met with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The prime minister also recently held meetings with China's Xi Jinping and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky.
CBS News campaign reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us from Palm Beach, Florida. She's following all of this for us. Olivia, tell us about Orban's relationship with Trump, because this is not the first time they've met and had a one-on-one.
No, in fact, it's the second time they've met in just recent months. Viktor Orban was here in March at Mar-a-Lago meeting with Donald Trump. And the two have a very close, very chummy relationship. Trump often talks about him when he's on the campaign stage, talking about how Viktor Orban has said in the past that he would like to see Trump back in the White House. So the two of them have a very good rapport and a very good relationship. This obviously comes after the Prime Minister of Hungary was here for the NATO summit. He met with President Biden earlier this week as well. And I'm told that this is an informal meeting down here in Florida today. But it's the backdrop that it's coming under that is the fascinating part. Of course, with the war in Ukraine raging on, any meeting that Trump is having with other world leaders is interesting, and especially with Viktor Orban. He just met with Putin last week in Moscow. And of course, Trump has said time again that he would like to end the war in Ukraine at some point. He says he could even end it within 24 hours. What's unclear is what he would do to end it, what parts of Ukraine he would give up to end that war. But obviously very notable for him to be meeting with any foreign leaders, especially at his home here in Mar-a-Lago.
Well, Olivia, let's talk about the Republican National Convention just days away. Who are you hearing about a potential running mate for the former president, as well as even a timeline?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine on the timeline. We have been pushing this campaign, trying to get any sort of information, and I'm told it could come in 10 minutes or it could come 1 minute before the convention. They're really holding this one close to their chest, but I suspect that we will know fairly soon who this vice presidential pick is, as on Monday, the Republican National Convention is starting. But as far as the people we're hearing about, there are two senators we are hearing about consistently, and that is J.D. Vance of Ohio and Senator Marco Rubio of Florida. The two of them are in top contention for this vice presidential pick. So it's interesting to keep hearing those names being floated. Of course, Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota, who's also someone we're hearing about. So it could come at any moment. We're keeping our eyes peeled, our ears to the ground. Donald Trump is holding another rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. We will be there, and we'll be watching to see if anyone shows up.
All right, but we'll know soon. We'll quote you now. Trump has also been distancing himself from Project 2025. There's a great explainer on CBSNews.com about what this is. It's something put together by the Conservative Heritage Foundation, a strategy. But Trump says, quote, in part, I know nothing about Project 2025. I've not seen it. I have no idea who is in charge of it. And unlike our very well-received Republican platform, had nothing to do with it. For the layman, what is the issue with Project 2025, and why is the former president playing dumb?
Well, Project 2025 is, as you mentioned, but it was brought about by the conservative group Heritage Foundation. What it is really is it's a set of policies and personnel that have been vetted, lawyered, so that if Donald Trump were to win the presidency again, on day one in the Oval Office, he would have a stack of executive orders he could sign and people he could hire to carry out a conservative agenda. Now, Donald Trump is distancing himself from that because there's been a lot of attacks from the Biden campaign and Democrats about what Project 2025 would do. And if you know anything about Donald Trump, you know that he likes to set his own policy. He does not like when other people set his policy. So that's part of the distancing you're seeing here. And I suspect we'll hear more about Project 2025, especially next week at the Republican National Convention.
Oh, yeah. And it's typical for all administrations to partner with foundations before they come into office. So that is also typical in Washington. Olivia Rinaldi joining us from Florida. Thank you very much. And folks, be sure to tune to CBS News 24/7 for full coverage of this year's Republican National Convention. It all kicks off next week. CBS News America Decide begins Monday at 5 Eastern on CBS News 24/7, and you can download the free CBS News app for the latest updates.